evening. I'm very happy to introduce Scott Rosenstein, a good friend of mine. Scott was born in Miami and received his BA in political science from Florida International University and his master's in theology from the United Theological Seminary in the Twin Cities. And ordained as a United Church of Christ minister in 1984, Scott served as the pastor of UCC parishes in Wisconsin and Pennsylvania before moving to the Cleveland area in 1989. Scott served as the pastor of Zion UCC in Tremont from 1995 to 2002, and during his tenure there at Zion, the congregation adopted an open and affirming policy for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people, calling for their inclusion in all aspects of worship. As pastor, Scott was very active in the Tremont neighborhood, serving on the Ecumenical Tremont Clergy Association, and as a member and secretary of the board of directors of the Tremont West Development Corporation, which is their neighborhood CDC. And in 2002, Scott accepted an invitation to join the staff of Tremont West as a community organizer. And during his time there at Tremont West, he's provided resources and staff support for block clubs and assisted them in leadership development and supporting quality of life issues that are all important to all of us. And for the last 10 years, Scott has served as a project manager for the annual Tremont Arts and Cultural Festival, which grows every year and welcomes thousands of residents and visitors to celebrate the region's incredible artistic, historical, and cultural diversity. Scott also assists resident leaders with neighborhood projects, including the Tremont Trek Home Tour and Tremont's Welcome of the Cleveland Marathon Runners every year. Scott is the father of a 26-year-old son, Jordan, who lives with his wife, Kara, in Rochester, Minnesota. And Scott and his partner, Bob Buckley, who unfortunately is abroad this week, recently celebrated their 18th anniversary. And they've made Tremont their home for the last 12 years. In 2009, Scott and Bob registered as one of the first couples to register as domestic partners with the city of Cleveland. And Scott and Bob are both active members of Liberation UCC in Lakewood, which is a congregation specifically created as an outreach ministry to the Lgbt community. Scott recently served 4 years on the Liberation Church Council, including a term as moderator. As well, over the years, special interest to Scott and Bob is that they have welcomed a number of rescue animals, pets, into their home and lives, most recently adopting a Cairn Terrier mix named Caleb this spring, which is also why Scott is losing weight and he looks fantastic. I am very, very pleased to have had the opportunity to work with Scott on a number of Tremont activities over the last several years. Scott is really a tireless champion of all things Tremont and is known for his calm and reasoned way of bringing together different factions in the neighborhood, creating a better place for all of us to live, work, and play. And for many reasons, Scott is one of our community's shining stars. I'm very happy to welcome him to receive his award this evening.
Presently serving that same block club in that same capacity, and it's truly an honor and a privilege to have had opportunities to work with them. Alan Harris spoke this evening at the invocation about creating a welcoming space, an inviting space, and I think that that's what we do in all of our neighborhoods and in all of our communities across Cleveland and throughout Northeast Ohio, is that we get up each day and in ways sometimes very small and sometimes large we make that effort to create welcoming space, inviting space for the citizens, for the residents of this region that we share. And it's been a real privilege to have the leadership of Councilman Zimmerman and Mayor Jackson as well in bringing together the residents of my neighborhood, along with business people and community leaders, and with colleagues in community development corporations from throughout the city of Cleveland, working together to empower people to be able to live their most authentic lives. And that's part of that journey that we try to do each day, to share and to empower and to nurture. And sometimes we argue with one another, sometimes we even battle with each other. But at the end of the day, or the end of the week, or the end of the year, we need to come back together as citizens, as residents, as community members. So it's a very, very great honor to be here today, and I thank you all for this honor, and ask you to continue that journey in each of your lives in ways that create welcome and create invitation, inviting space to all the people that you come